Hello and welcome to our series on creating accessible course materials brought to you by the Office of Online Learning at Genesee Community College. In this video, you will learn how to create accessible tables in Blackboard. Let's start with a little information on what makes a table accessible and why these features help learners. Tables are complex because even though the data is presented as text, a lot is conveyed about the meaning of the information by the placement of cells in relation to one another. These visual aspects can be lost for visually impaired students unless we add an accessible replacement for this information. There are three components to making an accessible table. The first component is the way the table is built. You must use a simple table structure, which means no merged or split cells, no blank rows or columns, and no tables nested in the cell of another table. Simple tables make it easier for screen readers to understand the relationship of data in columns and rows, so data can be read to learners in a predictable sequence. Simple tables are also easier for seeing learners to understand because the organization of data is clear. The second component is the header row. This should be the first row in a table where you identify what each column represents. This provides context for the data and assists learners in navigating the table's contents. This helps all types of learners understand what the table conveys. The third component is a table summary, which is similar to alternative text used in many other programs. The summary is text attached to a table that is used to convey the visual aspects and purpose of the table. Commonly, a table summary is used by people with visual impairments as a way to understand more about the table. When using a screen reader, learners will be notified when there is a table, and the screen reader software will read the table summary to the learner. You should make sure all tables used in Blackboard content items have these three accessible components. You can apply these accessible features when you create the content item, or you can apply them to tables and content items you already created. Now let's go through the steps to complete each of these three accessible features. We will start with how to ensure a simple table structure. I have a Blackboard content item opened in edit mode, and I want to add a new table. Click the Insert Edit Table button. Type the number of columns and rows you need. I'll use 3 for each. And click Insert. This inserts a simple table. Fill in the heading text and data in the cells. I just have some test data here. You can change the row heights and column widths, colors, and font options. These changes will still keep this as a simple table. Just do not merge or split cells or paste other tables into the table cells. But what if there is already a table in our course? You will need to verify if there are any merged or split cells, blank rows or columns, or nested tables. If any of these complex formatting elements are in your table, you will need to remove them. Since this is a somewhat advanced process, view the text version of this tutorial for examples of what makes a table complex and how to correct these issues. Now let's cover how to add the second accessible feature, the header row. Make sure the text in the first row of the table identifies what each column is for. I already have this heading text here. I just need to make sure Blackboard knows it's a heading row. Highlight the header row. Click the Table Row Properties button. Under the row type, select Header. Click Update. This formats the first row as a heading row. So on to the third accessible feature, adding the table summary. Right-click anywhere in the table and select Table Properties. Click the Advanced tab. In the ID field, type a short phrase to indicate what the table shows. You can write something similar to what you would use if providing a caption for the table. In my case, I have a course schedule, so I will use Course Schedule by Week. In the Summary field, Type a longer explanation that describes the function of the table and any information conveyed by the way the table is organized. If it is not already apparent by the column headers or cells, include a description of the type of data used in each row or column. I'm going to use course schedule by week, indicating what the topic is for that week, and reading and assignments due by the end of the week. When finished, click Update. Those are the basic steps for creating simple tables, adding a heading row to tables, and adding table summaries in Blackboard. For troubleshooting and additional tips, refer to the text version of this tutorial linked in the video description below. If you have any questions, please contact us by email at gcconline@genesee.edu, by phone at 585-345-6969, or stop in our office on the Batavia campus in room T148. And check out our other tutorials for more information on making accessible course materials.